Christianity has a lot of bad ideas in it. Now, that might not be news to you, whether it's the sexism, the promotion of slavery, anti-LGBTQ narratives. There's a lot of bad stuff for us to talk about. So let me talk about one that particularly gets under my skin. Turn to Matthew chapter 5, verses 10 and 11. Blessed are those who are persecuted because of their righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you, and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me. Now, this comes from a section known as the Sermon on the Mount, and it's supposedly one of Jesus's most inspirational teachings. In fact, I've heard people describe it as the most inspirational teaching of all time. But let me ask, is this really a good lesson? It's basically telling Christians to expect to be persecuted, as if it's a foregone conclusion, like it's something to be proud of. Hey, man, they're just persecuting you because of how righteous you are. It teaches believers to hypertune their attention to the slightest of perceived offenses and blow it up into ridiculous proportions because, well, they're righteous. And that must mean that they're being persecuted, because if they're not being persecuted, do they really know that they're being righteous? And this isn't the only time the concept is talked about in the Bible, and more often than not, it is attributed to Jesus himself, whether it's Matthew 24:9 or John 15:20 or 2 Timothy 3:12. And there's a lot more. This is the ideology that leads to so many Christians believing they are constantly under attack. And worse, it instills and fosters an us versus them mentality because they are persecuting us because we're righteous. Then this justifies the hateful or violent next steps these individuals have taken throughout history. So that's why I say that this is a feature of Christ, the always wonderful, the man with the plan, and probably some other things that rhyme, but I didn't think that through. Armin Navabi, what is up, brother?
Hey, how are you?
Should have prepared more for it. Honestly, it was my. Normally, I have like a snappy little line for you there, and I didn't. So
yeah, this is so much excitement every time. I don't know. There's so much energy. I don't know how to respond to this. I'm like, oh my god, I'm trying to meet your level, and it's just so high. I just give up. I'm like.
So hello? There was a sale on like Starburst, like those big shareable bags the other day. So I bought two because they were buy one get one, and I figured you can't just buy. I mean, if you buy the one, you're going to get the other one. It doesn't matter. So I had a lot of those before we started, which is also why I probably didn't prepare a good opening, but that's okay because this is the Atheist Experience, and the Atheist Experience is a product of the atheist community of Austin, a 501c3 nonprofit organization dedicated to the promotion of atheism, critical thinking, secular humanism, and the separation of religion and government. All very wonderful things. And, folks, there's a lot of ways you can actually support us here. And you might already see some of those coming on because there are these cool little super chat options you can do, and you can make Armin and I say a bunch of things live on air as long as it is at least moderately appropriate. We have kind of a wide range, Armin, but, it's got to be moderately appropriate. So like this one from Miranda Rensberger has been a member for 6 months, send in $5 saying, this week, Christians are feeling weirdly triggered and persecuted over nothing. In other breaking news, the sky is blue. I agree with you there, Miranda. It seems to be something that is fairly common. And we also got $1 from Myron Vaughn Sr. Didn't send a message. Myron, if we see you in the chat and you want to say something, just let us know and we'll shout it out. But thank you so much. Thank you so much for that support. And one more. We've got $9.99 from Bullerish Trade saying, love your weekly podcasts. My wife turned me on to this a few months ago and have started my deconstruction. My last wall is getting over the fear of hell. Your team is greatly helping. Thanks so much. Heck yes, Bullerish Trades. That is awesome. And I know that is a long journey. So make sure to come hang out with us because we don't just do the weekly podcasts. We have a whole community here, and there's there's people hanging out and helping each other all the time. So, also real quick, we got Quantum Answer just gifted 20 Atheist Experience memberships. Holy crap. Quantum Answer is an awesome member of this community. Been a member here for over 2 years, I think. And oh my gosh, if you just got a membership, you should spam emojis like crazy, because you can do that now. And definitely thank Quantum Answer. Armin, I've been talking about this like hyper tuned offense thing that like I think Christians have a lot of. And I'm really, one of the things I'm really pleased about is that when I look in the news, I don't see this coming from the Muslim community. Like, it doesn't seem to me like there's a lot of instances around the world where they're getting really upset over like nothing. And I want to know, am I just not reading the right sources? Like, or are you here to tell me, correct SR, that is exactly what the history of Islam has been? Does this happen in the Muslim community?
Here or there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. But okay, so to your point, actually, it's funny because a lot of people were talking about how in the the French in the Olympics when they had that thing that a lot of people assumed that this was the Last Supper and they were making fun of Jesus,
right?
And a lot of people were like, "Oh, they would never do this to Islam." So because Muslims get outraged and offended a lot more than Christians, and they react more harshly. And I think, it's true. Muslims nowadays, on average, do respond a lot more harshly and aggressively. However, I think it was very, very unfair to the French to say that, given that, after the attacks on Charlie Hebdo, it was, with the government itself was projecting pictures of, the Charlie Hebdo cartoons, of Prophet Muhammad, in huge projection of it on government buildings, right?
Yeah,
so to say that the French government will dare, support any criticism of Christianity, but they're too cowardly to do that with Islam, I think that was really unfair given the price that the French government is paying and how strongly they're standing against Islamic values basically spreading in their country. They're doing more than most countries. So it was really unfair, I think, to the French to say that they would do this with Christianity, but not with Islam.
Yeah, but they're pretty aggressively secular. They're pretty well known for really,
they're so
really
secular
holding
that
that line.
They have a name. They're so secular that they just name it laïcité. Like, we're so secular that we have a different name for it.
right.
All right. Yeah. But also regarding Christianity, like being obsessed with, being offended. I think being offended is a defense mechanism, right? But also, but feeling that you're always oppressed. I think that is something that you see within Christianity and Shia Islam. Yeah. And I think when it comes to, when you see it in Christianity, it's, Friedrich Nietzsche was referred to that as slave mentality. So the history behind that, I don't know, the history behind that, according to Nietzsche, if you agree with him, was that the Christians, used to, brought their mentality of, they looked at the Romans and being slaves and being oppressed, and they brought out all of those weak traits, and because they look at the people who had traits that put them in position of power and gave them all the traits that actually make you succeed and be powerful and control society and be successful and prosperous. They're against it because they didn't have that. And they looked at all of those traits in the Romans and they were jealous of it. So that's why they ended up, celebrating weakness. So they, when you were saying like, why did they want to be oppressed? Because they brought that slave mentality and all the things that make you weak, they actually sold it as virtues, as if these are good things to have, because of the jealousy that they had over the people who were ruling over them before.
And you can see how, I think, you see how that is a coping mechanism used by a community in a space where, like, they are oppressed, right? Like, you can see how the afterlife, you know, shifting the focus from this world because, yeah, man, it kind of sucks. The Romans are, you know, beating us down, or Babylon, or whatever it is, right? And so don't worry about this world. Worry about the next one. It'll be so much better. You can see how that coping mechanism, you know, starts. Right. And then as we get further and further away from that being the case, and especially when that group has power, you can see how they weaponize that. Again, something else I think comes through in Islam. You have this, you know, weaker phase, this more chill, this more, hey, do whatever. And then it's like, oh no, what, we're in charge now? Yeah, slaughter everybody. Like, yeah, just kill them all if they don't agree with Muhammad. So it's interesting. It's an interesting dynamic.
Yeah. So again, every community, every group's mentality is interesting how it comes from their history, right? So Christians have that within their foundation because their leader was crucified. So you kind of had to justify the crucifixion actually being part of the plan, right? So but also after, when the Romans were oppressing them, you should also turn that into a strength. This is why Nietzsche was saw Christianity as a weak and pathetic religion. But when it comes to, because it celebrates weakness, right?
Right.
But if you come to Islam, there's actually two different, you know, when you look at Sunni Islam and Shia Islam, you can see the history of each one of them also affected their mentality in the same way, because throughout the history of Sunni Islam was in power. They had an empire, right? They ruled over most of the Islamic world. Shia Islam, not that much. The history of Shia Islam is that their imams were being killed. They were always oppressed. They were always in hiding, and except a few examples like the Ismailis and also the Safavid dynasty. But most of their history, they were also, as the Sunnis were ruling over them, hunting them down. So the Sunnis came to the mostly until recently, until the World War I and eventually the Islamic Revolution in Iran. Before that, the Sunnis had this idea that whoever has the power, that shows that they have Allah's blessing. Why did they think that? Because they were in power throughout their history. So their strength. Yeah. So whoever has the power and the strength, that's a sign that they have Allah's blessing. Shias assumed the opposite. Shias were more like Christians. Shias like, no, whoever is being oppressed, whoever is being wronged, that's the sign that Allah is on their side. Why did they think that? Because they were being oppressed. Right?
Yeah. It makes sense. Again, like once you kind of think about it for a few minutes, it's like, yeah, okay, this makes sense. And again, I think it's the perpetuation of that, especially as those situations change, which they do throughout history, right? And that just turns into this really, really, you know, dark and destructive mentality. But Armin, we've got a bunch of calls lining up. So I am excited. We are going to grab those just a moment, because before we do that, we have to give you last week's results of the Share Your Experience question or prompt of the week. Last week, we asked you, what do you say in a confessional just to fuck with the priest? So here are our 3 favorite answers. Number 3 from Chuck Gatos says, what to say in a confessional just to fuck with a priest? You say, I beat up my last 4 priests for inflicting excessive penance on me. Just thought you should know. I like that. Give him a fair warning. Like, hey man, not too many Hail Marys or else. Let's see. Number 2.
That could be careful. That could be illegal, by the way. You guys, this is just a joke.
Yeah, it's a joke. Yeah. Sorry. Hold up, YouTube algorithm. The only gods we actually worship. Please know this is not serious. Number 2 from X Million. Ask the priest, so are you telling me that Jesus was hung in addition to being hanged? That's a good question. That's a great way to start off the conversation for sure. I mean, the Catholics are the ones that put Jesus on the actual crucifix. So, you know, you've got a little representation right there you could go point to. Anyway, number 1 from Blargelman the Skeptic 2 says, what to say to a priest? May holy unicorn bless you, my child. Amen. I love that. That really, the amen part is really what that seals it right there. That's gorgeous. Armin, we've got a prompt for this week.
Okay.
I want your answer first, okay? And then we're going to kick it out to our wonderful audience. I want you to complete the conspiracy theory, okay? The gospel authors don't want you to know blank. What conspiracy has been occurring right under our noses this whole time, Armin?
Right. So we were discussing this before we went live, and I came up with an answer that a lot of people did not appreciate. They thought it was not silly enough. They told me, Armin, we're trying to be silly here. And I was like, I was just giving the actual answer is that they didn't want you to know their names, because that's why they picked, the apostles' names. So that's the actual answer. So I was hunting for an answer that was silly, and I came up with an even less silly, nerdy answer that is not going to impress anybody.
Right.
because it's just like it's just a fact.
Right.
That the authors of the gospel. So, I mean, it's interesting, though. I find it interesting. When they were writing the Gospels, they were, when they were copying Mark, they were trying to be original, but they got tired. They had writer fatigue. And as they were copying their work, they became less and less original, and they were just copying it even more. So let me actually read. So what they don't want you to know is that the writers were getting tired, and the beginning of the gospel was looked like less of a copy, and the end of the gospels looked more like a copy. So actually, let me read this one for you. There is evidence from biblical scholars that the authors of the synoptic gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, may have exhibited signs of editorial fatigue when copying from source material, particularly towards the later parts of their narratives, right? So, when they were... Okay, so this phenomenon suggests that as the authors progressed through the text, they became less meticulous in their editing and reverted to more straightforward copying, right? Leading to inconsistencies or awkward transitions in the final product. So imagine if you're adding your own tone and adding your own originality to it, and then eventually get tired, that then you just start copying more accurate, like just making it more of a copy, and then so the tone switches through the text. You can see the tone is switching, right? So Mark Goodker, a prominent scholar in this area, has argued that when Matthew and Luke copied from Mark, they sometimes altered the beginning of narratives but failed to maintain those changes consistently throughout the text. This inconsistency can be seen as a sign of fatigue, where the writer reverts to a more passive form of reproduction in later sections. So basically what they don't want you to know is that they just got tired and they just straight up copied their work.
Okay, in fairness, that is super nerdy, but in fairness, that is really funny to me. The thought of somebody 1,000+ years ago sitting there trying to carve something into a tablet and just what's that? What's that, God? Can you but can you slow down a little? It's right. This is a really hard stone. Just wait a sec. Fuck this, man. I'm done writing it. Just write what he said. I love that thought. They just got bored halfway through writing down the all powerful, all correct words of their deity.
I mean, to be fair, I don't think they were using stones. That was a couple of thousand years before.
It was at that point. It was well, then they have less of an excuse, Armin. Now I feel like they're just a bunch of pansies. Come on, guys. How can you not just see? This is the problem. See, this is why us as non-believers are often better believers than the believers themselves. We actually know the text, and we'd actually keep writing. If it doesn't matter. But if an all-powerful deity was talking to me, I wouldn't just stop halfway through. I mean, what a freaking ridiculous. Whatever. Look, I love the answer. I thought it was kind of silly. I thought it worked. But folks, we know you can come up with better answers than Armin and I. You are always making good comments.
Yes.
So make sure you do comment below the video, not in the live chat, because we don't care. If it's in the live chat, we don't care. We won't read it. So like you're wasting your effort. You right now that are typing this answer in the live chat, it's wasted. So don't do it. Go to the comments and then hang out with us next week, because we will read the top 3 and it could be yours. Armin, I want to go to calls because we've got a bunch of calls. I have other things to say. I have some super awesome super chats that have come in and some great announcements for you, but we got a bunch of calls and they are stacking up, so I want to go right into them. We are going to check in actually with a friend, somebody that called us a while ago. Kristian out in Denmark is an atheist, he, him pronouns, and called us a while ago to talk about his son converting to Islam and wants to give us some updates on that. So what is up, Kristian? You were talking with SR and Armin.
Yeah, hi, good afternoon. Nice talking to you again. Thank you for taking my call.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I talked to you some 4 months ago, I think. My son converted to Islam, and my wife and I were sort of panicking, and we had a good talk, and it really helped. I also relayed it to my wife. So we had some good talks with our son also, and thought that it had sort of stabilized. But now, I'm checking in with you guys both because you asked me to, of course, but also because it has developed a little bit, and he started attending a mosque almost, it seems like, on a daily basis. So that has, of course, gotten us a bit worried, and I was hoping that to hear your advice or whatever. Because of course we're worried. What are they getting it into his head?
Yeah, definitely. And I'm first off, just want to say thank you so much for checking back in with us, man. Like, it is great to hear this update. And it's I just love the fact that we have a bunch of people here that, can just let you know how much they support you and stuff. And I'm not looking at the live chat right now, but I just guarantee there's so much love and stuff. And that's where I'll start, and then I'll kick it over to Armin for the majority of this. But I think one thing to always keep in mind is you let your son know that you love him and you care about him, and that any of these things that you're bringing to his attention is because you are concerned for his well-being. I think that is always something that is so important to make sure we keep, in the forefront of our mind. But Armin, please give us some thoughts on this. Help us out. What are some tips? What you got?
So do you still have a good relationship with him? Like, are you guys talking? Are you guys like, having...
Certainly, and we have good talks also regarding this, of course. There is, of course, now sort of an elephant in the room all the time. And we have a hard time finding out, my wife and I, how aggressively to talk about these things. But yes, I think we have a good relationship. There are things that he's not telling us. We know that, but I mean, he's a teenager, so it would be that's only natural, I suppose. My wife is, and partly also myself, we are a bit concerned which view of women he's adopting, because I don't know. I think I mentioned it the last time we talked that I work abroad, so my wife and I are split up half the year. So of course she's the only one tending to the household when I'm away, and she feels like he's sometimes disrespecting her. But of course we might very well be seeing ghosts now that and sort of always connecting it to this the Islam part. It might just be a product of him being a teenager.
Right.
So, but all in all, yes, we have a good relationship still.
Yeah, I think it has more to do with being a teenager. But I do think that you are prioritizing maintaining that relationship over making him leave Islam, right? Is that what you're doing? Because
I told him time and time again, we're told both our kids that that is their happiness that's paramount, nothing else. So if this makes him happy, then by all means, I mean, I'm not. I want his happiness and for him to be happy. I'm just starting to be worried.
But
Okay.
So beyond just like just telling him that it's his choices and you are going to let him make his choices, like, are you like present? Like, are you guys like try to be present in his life to just be there? Because sometimes people become religious because they're trying to fill in a gap. I mean, if you end up trying to be aggressive about it to try to like make him leave Islam, that you often does the opposite. Like it just pushes them away. I think the highest priority is to just make sure that the bond is not lost, because if that is lost, then you have lost that person. You know, it's really hard to get them back, right? So your priority, like if you try to make them non-Muslim, you're pushing them into the arms of Islam even more aggressively and faster, right? So I think that the focus should just be not going beyond just signaling to them that you're not going to do that, but also to just be available, and also make yourself reliable, like, and also try to figure out what is the gap that is trying to be filled here, like what is missing. Without asking them, there needs to be I mean, actually, you can ask them, but not in a way that might make them feel like you're trying to find ways to conspire against their Islam. But usually people don't become Muslim or Christian or whatever if they're not Christian or Muslim to begin with because of like that religion is rationally making sense to them. Usually there's a void that needs to be filled. So instead of like taking a position against their Islam, try to figure out what that void is, try to figure out what that gap is, and trying to find ways to provide that for them in their life, or at least making it obvious that you will be there for them to be able to do that, and for them to be able to rely on you for that. That it's more of an emotional strategy that you need to have more than a rational one. This is not a rational move, so it probably is not going to be able to be solved with a rational response. It's an emotional need that needs to be satisfied, and if it's not satisfied in other ways, then religion is going to do that for them, right? So two things. Two questions. Are you trying to be present in their life? And two, are you able to identify what is that emotional gap that is missing that they're trying to fill it up with Islam?
Those are great questions.
Well, I think I would say yes and no. Yes to the trying very actively to be present, definitely. But and I think not until now have we, my wife and I, thought of whether there was this gap, because I think we have also come to that conclusion and wanting to somehow ask him, what is it that the visit to the mosque gives him? Why, and what do they do there?
Yes.
Yes. And I think we're a bit insecure whether we can ask him that, and have him describe what they're actually doing there.
If I may, just real quick, Kristian. So I understand that feeling totally. What you just presented about, like, we're unsure if like we can ask this, like we don't, because it's kind of a tense subject, you know. It's kind of it's a hot button, you know, thing right now for the fam. So like, I don't want to cause any problems. Be curious. Be genuinely interested and curious about the situation, and express that to him. Say to your son, like, hey man, honestly, like, I don't really know what goes on. Like, I don't have any idea. If you're comfortable with it, you and your wife, if you're comfortable, ask to go one time, you know, say, hey, you know, could we go and just see, you know. I know some mosques, and it depends. Some are very welcoming to non-Muslims, some are not very welcoming. Places of worship can be like that, so that may not be an option. But I think more often than not, when I find myself in one of these kind of tense conversations, if I am genuinely curious when asking questions, most of the time the person responds, you know, welcomingly, because all of us humans are just a little bit of a narcissist. We all like it when people ask questions about ourselves. We're more likely to answer in that capacity. But I thought those were really good questions, Armin. And I think that is exactly the focus you should have. Those two things, how to be present in his life as much as possible. Of course, it can be difficult. And then that second one is tough, but it's really, really important. And I'm glad that you brought that up, man. Like, seriously, that's a very good point.
I have another question. Before he went to the mosque, did he have an active friend group? Before he became Muslim?
Excuse me?
Did he have friends?
Yeah, he has some friends, but it's sort of, we feel like he has one good friend left that are non-Muslim, but it feels like he has substituted his friends with these that were also his friends before, but that are Muslims, and he's spending a lot of time with these two.
Yeah.
So here's the problem, right? So as a teenager, validation and being seen and also being accepted as part of a strong friend group is like the most satisfying emotional, fulfillment that you could get, right? As teenagers, boys and girls, right? So this is what, when Islam is growing in a society, it takes advantage of that very actively. Like, imagine if you're a teenager, imagine if you were a teenager and there's a group of people who are, because you're a Muslim and going to the mosque, see you as a valued member, and they're taking you a lot more seriously. They're like a club, right? And they're validating you and they're congratulating you for being part of them. I mean, the amount of emotional, they're hitting all the right emotional, parts of your brain, especially when a teenager, like, who doesn't want that? Like, most people, humans are social animals, and that is one of the most important desires. And if a group of people come and give you that, it's really hard not to it's really hard to resist basically joining them. Like, almost everything we do as human animals is to get that validation. Like, your income, your work, the car, the house, the clothes that you wear, is to get that validation. And there's a group of people that are just giving you all of that for free with very little work, especially as a teenager. It's going to become very hard for you to resist. And that's how this meme is spreading. So just like, it's not something, like, when you look at it from that perspective, you just know that you're not doing something wrong as a parent. Like, you're not failing as a parent. This is a very powerful mechanism, especially towards teenager, that is really hard to compete with. Right. So what is your but here's the question. What is your concern? Like, let's say, for example, your son is going to be a Muslim and is going to remain a Muslim, and he's not going to come out of Islam. And that's what you have to deal with. What is a scenario that you don't want to see? If you maintain a relationship with your son and you have a friendly, you're friendly with each other, and he has a relationship with you and you have a relationship with him, if he becomes a Muslim and stays a Muslim, is that a concern? Like, is just being a Muslim a concern, or is your relationship with him the concern? Which one? What are you concerned about?
Well, both, I would say, because of course the relationship. If the relationship is not there, then the other thing basically doesn't matter. But I mean, what I'm concerned about is also that the religion will be controlling his life, and sure. I sincerely feel that such a person being controlled by religion has an enormously less. Of a life. I mean, it's a poorer life than if not, and he will miss out on so much. And I want him to have a better life. That's it.
Yes.
I
agree with you on that, but we cannot how old is he?
He's 16.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's his own independent person. Like, as parents, So yeah, I agree that a person that doesn't believe in religion is more equipped to have a healthier life than somebody that does believe in this stuff. However, as a parent, you're not going to be able to micromanage your children and what they believe, and you can if this happens, you have to just make the best of it. If you don't want your son to be a Muslim, unfortunately there's no like red button that you could press that, or there's certain technique that will bring them out of Islam. There are certain things that is beyond your control, and it's not your fault. You shouldn't blame yourself. You shouldn't feel like you're doing something wrong as a parent, because these are independent. These are not like, our children are not like are like dolls. Like there are so many factors that influences their behavior and what they think that is beyond your control as a parent. So all you can expect from yourself is to make the best of this situation, right? So, and also remember, when somebody becomes a Muslim, it's not black and white, right? It's not like, okay, so non-Muslim is good, Muslim is bad, okay? It is a spectrum. You could have many Muslims who are living more Islamic lives and less Islamic lives. As a Muslim, you're influenced by many different things. You could be influenced by Islam, but you could be influenced by many things that are not Islamic. And the part of the influence on your child that you want to keep high and is your relationship with them, right? So even if they're Muslim and stay a Muslim, as long as the influence that you could have on them as a parent is a positive one, then you're doing what you're supposed to do. And that part, you as non-Muslims, as non-Muslim parents, that influence is a positive influence on their life, regardless of how negative of an influence the Islamic influence is, right? And if you keep that, you just have to try to keep that influence to be as rich as possible. So as a Muslim, I'm influenced by Islam. I'm influenced by the Muslim community that I'm involved with, but I'm influenced by 100 and 1,000 different things. And you are one of those 1,000 other things. And you could just make that part bolder and more expressive and a bigger part of his life, so that you take a bigger percentage of how much you are how much of an influence you are on his life compared to the Islamic part, right? So it's not, maybe you are not going to be able to eliminate the Islamic influence on his life. All you're trying to do is that to take up a higher percentage of an influence that you are in his life, rather than absolutely eliminating. Maybe you're never going to be able to eliminate that. Maybe you shouldn't even be trying, because if you try, you might actually even end up grow that percentage, right? Maybe by just being there, you're just trying to make sure that you are a bigger part of his life compared to that Islamic influence. Does that make sense?
It certainly does. It certainly does. But one question though, with regards to his starting to visit his frequent visits to the mosque, is that something we should be worried about? Or?
It's going to depend a lot on the mosque for sure, and a lot on the teachings that are being taught, right? Like there was recently a mosque, was it in Germany, Armin? You know, the mosque that, was just a propaganda.
The blue mosque.
Yeah. So like recently, got raided and shut down because it was being shown that these guys were promoting terrorism and violence around the world, like for years. But so it's going to depend a lot on who that imam is, who that mullah is, who's teaching, what they're teaching. But I think, and tell me if you think I'm on the right track here, Armin, I think if you take some of those tacks that Armin is talking about in terms of being a positive influence on your son's life, maintaining that good relationship, you're going to be able to combat a lot of that a heck of a lot easier. And again, it feels to me, Kristian, like you and your wife are really, really on the right path. And thank you so much for touching back in.
Can I say one last thing?
Yeah, I was going to say, Armin's got one more thing, and we'll let you go.
Last thing. Because I don't want to say that being Muslim is as good as not being a Muslim. Obviously, it's not. Not being a Muslim is better. Okay.
Right.
However, I don't want you to panic, because panicking and thinking like something really devastating is happening here is going to make you maybe sometimes be more aggressive and get the opposite reaction. I just want you to know like I don't know that mosque. Like SR was, that's a very good point. Like how where you need to be depends on the mosque and the type of people there are there. However, I also just want you to recognize that there are many Muslim teenagers that have very good relationship with their parents, okay, including their mom, and in fact that's the majority of them, okay. Right. So I know we are against religion here, and I am an active anti-Islam advocate. I'm not an anti-Muslim advocate. I'm an anti-Islam advocate. And you know, there are many Muslim people who are living healthy lives with good relationship between parents and their children. So don't think that just because your son is a Muslim, this is going to turn into a tragedy necessarily. Again, I'm against Islam, but I just want you to not over panic and think that this is going to destroy your family, because many Muslims end up having healthy families, and that could be your son as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
100%, Kristian.
Right.
Yeah, seriously, we're really appreciative, and thank you so much for calling back in and giving us some updates. I'm also going to mention, as I let you go here, recovering from religion is not just for individuals that are leaving religion. Recovering for religion is not just US based, okay? So they have lines open all the time, and wonderful trained people that can help, and you can kind of bounce some ideas off us. And don't forget, man, we got a lot of great spaces here at the ACA online, and come hang out with us and you know, just vent and get some more tips, and give us some more updates, Kristian. We're excited to hear what happens, man. So far though, it really does feel like they're going a really good route. Like that's great. I love that. I hate to see families ripped apart by religion, which is what Jesus said he was here to do, according to him, apparently. So we've got a bunch of fantastic theist calls. We're going to come to all of you in a row right here. But first, I'm going to mention some of these wonderful super chats. We've got K-Dub, been a member for 6 months, sending $5 saying, I survived a religious funeral last week, and lunch for the family. The only redeeming quality, Southern Baptists can still make a damn fine casserole. Yes, they can. That's what's great about being out here in the South. We've got Bullerish Trade sending $19.99. My confessional. Have you ever heard of a reverse exorcism? It's when the demon commands the priest to get out of the child. Man, wow. Oof. That one. Oof. Oh, wow. Man, yeah, that cut deep. We've got $19.99 from Zap It Boy saying, happy birthday to the Impossible Girl. P.S. Armin, your book just arrived at my house this week. Excited to read it. That's awesome. That is awesome. Yeah. Guys, Armin has a book. Go check it out. Why There Is No God. We've also got $3.99. I'm pretty sure that's pounds. Yeah, pounds? That feels no, euros. $3.99 euros. Yeah, okay. From Jonathan Whitaker saying, hi, Elliot. Make Armin say it with the ET voice. All right. Armin, do you know ET? Do you know that reference? It's a... Oh, no, Elliot. I don't know E.T. Well, I don't fucking know, man. I don't know if you've seen E.T. Like, I don't know what you've watched in your life. Like, shit, man. I haven't seen any of the last Marvel movies. God damn it. Can you do the E.T. voice? Are you going to do it now? No, I can't do any voices. Well, okay. Well, just say hi to me so that Jonathan at least is satisfied. Hi. I don't know. Hi, Elliot. I don't know. I can't do voices, okay? Well, I can't do voices. That was perfect. That's all for you, fool out of myself. We've got David Hacker, been a member for 2 months, sending $5 Canadian, saying this is a super chat. It is factually correct. That is 100% true. And I've got some cool announcements you are gonna want to stick around for, because there's some cool stuff coming up in the community and some great things new that are happening. But before we do that, we are gonna grab another call because I want to talk to Jason. No pronouns given, out in Wisconsin, is a theist. Jason says they've got a message from God to the community. And now, Jason, you're going to hear a beep in just a second because I'm bringing you on, okay? But before we go very far into this, I want to ask a couple of very sincere but very important questions, okay? Because I want to hear this message, but the first thing I want to know is, how do you know this is from God?
Well, basically, it says in the Bible that God does nothing unless he reveals it to his prophets first. and that's where I'm getting it from. So what happened is,
Hey, hang on. I just want to make sure we're on the same page here, so we know. Because remember, I had two questions, very sincere, very genuine questions. The first one, you're saying the reason you know this is from God is because at some point in the Bible, it said that God reveals messages to his prophets first, and you got this message from a prophet?
yes, and
Okay. Hang on. No, that's fine. I just want to make sure we're on the same page. I've got a lot to push back there, but again, I am interested in hearing what this message is. But before we do that, my other very important question is, why should Armin and I give a damn? Okay, so you say it's from God, but why does that matter to us?
well, aren't you guys looking for God? Don't you want to know that he exists? Don't your viewers want to know that? Aren't you guys?
I would be interested, yeah, for sure, if there is any good demonstration of God's existence. Absolutely, that's what we're here for. But yeah, like you're just saying the reason we should care that this is a message from God is simply because it does prove God's existence. Is that?
Yeah. So you guys are looking for
Okay.
God, so this will prove it. And then
Cool. I'm with you. I'm just making sure. Again, I've got a bunch to push back on both of those things, but I genuinely do just want to hear what this message is. So, what did God say to you about what is going to happen?
Okay. So there's a list. So bear with me here. I'll just say the list, and then we can go back.
How many things are on the list? I've got a bunch of calls, so I want to try to make it as efficient as possible.
Try to shorten it to 4. How about that?
That'll work. Let's do 4.
So one, there's a terrorist attack that's going to be imminent. It's coming soon, probably between now and the end of the year.
Any other more information on it? Any more precise info, or just there is a terrorist attack?
Well, only that our government opened the door, and this is deliberate. So this is from inside, and there's
in America. Are you saying this is in the United States?
Yeah.
There will be a terrorist attack in the United States that can be demonstrated at the time that the United States government let the terrorists do it. That's what it sounds like you're saying to me. Am I correct?
Yeah, the government didn't.
Number 2.
The government left open the southern border, so this could happen. This is what they wanted.
Okay, so that I just hang on, real quick, man, real quick, okay, because what you just said right there is fuck all out of nowhere left field stupid. So I want to make this as good and productive of a call as possible for you and me and Armin and all the wonderful viewers out there. What you just said has abso-fucking-lutely nothing to do with everything else you've just said about the government left the southern border open and it could happen there. Man, do you know how fucking easy it is to get into the United States on an airplane? It's a hell of a lot easier than walking through desert. But here's the point. Here's the reason I said that. Just go to the prophecy thing, man. You don't have to propaganda anything, okay? We already know you got shit to tell us. Just tell us that shit, okay? So, first point. Government gonna allow a terrorist attack to happen in the US before the end of the year, and it will be proven at the time, it will be demonstrated at the time that our government let it happen. Awesome. I'm excited to see either that happen and you be proven correct, or you very humbly calling us back here in January of 2025 to say that you were wrong, because I feel like that's confident. So hang on, Armin. We got to go through these points. He's got 3 other prophecies. I want to try to get to him quick. So just rattle them off for me, okay? Number 2, Jason, what is the next prophecy?
The stock market and the housing market are all going to crash between now and the end of the year, going into next year.
Awesome.
And see it happen.
Awesome. So now, okay, so stock market's going to crash. So yeah, first point is that there's going to be a terrorist attack in the U.S. The government's gonna allow it, and it will be proven at the time that the government did it. The next one is that the stock market and the housing market are going to crash before the end of the year. Again, we're talking about the United States. What's the third one?
Okay, so there's going to be major blackout, major nationwide blackout that's going to happen.
Major nationwide blackout. Okay.
Is this God of the universe or God of the United States?
Yeah, it's
Why is
very
everything just...
it's very weirdly specific to just the U.S. But okay, what's the fourth one?
So, the angel of death is coming, just like in the book of Exodus. The same thing will happen. There's going to be the plagues, just like that. That'll mimic the book of Exodus. But the last one was an angel of death, and there will be mass death worldwide. And they will blame it on a fake.
Oh, worldwide! Finally, God realized that there's
other countries out there.
It's not just the US. Okay.
So, okay, Jason, I let you say the things because I did want to hear them. I was interested. I really was. I feel very much like my prediction, you know, my thought about where this would go is exactly where we are, where basically everything you have said is fairly mundane for the most part. Like a terrorist attack will happen. It's like, well, yeah, actually, like they happen all the time, just depending on what you're talking about. Like domestic terrorism in the United States is every mass shooting, bro. Like, just so you know, we have like a crazy amount of those in the United States. So, you know, that is probably going to happen between now and the end of, you know, the year. The stock market thing and the housing market thing crashing, like that's a bit more specific, you know, that's something a bit more like we can see. Now, my worry here, Jason, is that what's going to happen is we're going to see a normal dip in the stock market or the housing market, which is a regular occurrence for these types of things. We're going to see a small or noticeable dip between now and the end of the year, and you'll go, haha, see, that's what I was talking about. But just so you know, just in case you weren't sure, this is recorded for posterity's sake. And so, again, in January, when these don't come true, which is my prediction, I hope that you will come back and you will say that you got all this wrong. But from there, we've got nationwide blackouts again, which, you know, could happen there's actually rolling blackouts going on right now in a bunch of different states in the United States because of the heat. Like I have friends that live in places where there are rolling blackouts going. So like, I guess that's already occurring. I don't know. And then just like mass death across the world. Like, do you know how many people die every day, man? Like none of these are particularly interesting. Armin, you seem to have grabbed a dog in the meantime. You don't seem very impressed with these prophecies. Is that what I'm hearing? This message from God is not impressive to you. Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, I just have a question from Jason. Is he going to stop believing in God? If how many prophecies do we have? We had four, right? If only 3 of them come true and any of them do not come true, are you going to stop believing in God if only 3 out of 4 of these come true and one of them doesn't?
Very good question.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll come back on here and admit that I'm wrong, but I'm not going to stop believing in God. But I will say that I missed it. And
so what's the point?
Why wouldn't you stop believing in God? If this is supposedly a message from God and you gave us at least earlier a bit of a methodology for how you know that this is a message from God. You're not just pulling it out of your ass, man. Like this is from the prophets, man. So like you did the work is what it sounds like to me, brother. I want to honor that. I want to say, look, man, if this is wrong, the only answer could be not your incapability. You're not an idiot. You know what you're doing. You know how to understand messages from God. So if this is wrong, why is that not confirmation that God isn't real?
Well, let's say that say 3 out of the 4 happen, but 1 doesn't, or happens in a different way. Sometimes people understand prophecy where it's not wrong, but just misunderstood exactly what the Lord was saying, how it's going to come to pass. But,
so are you misunderstanding prophecy now?
Well,
is that possible? Is it possible that you're misunderstanding it in this moment?
I'm misunderstanding.
Yeah, if that's on the table still, man, and the only way we have is like after the fact, that's not good. That's what we call like post hoc, man. Because after you claim something and then it doesn't work out, you then go back to the thing and go, oh, it was actually something different the whole time. Go ahead, Armin.
So this is a stupid game that if we accept these terms, you will always win, right? I will just now give you a couple of prophecies and just randomly come up with some predictions, and I will tell you that these are, if they're true, then you have to worship me as a god, okay? And if they don't come true, it doesn't show that I'm not God.
Right.
I will just give you another set of 4 other prophecies. And now we'll wait. And then, or just 1 prophecy, 2 prophecies, right? And then if they come true, now you have to, like, why should we take this seriously is if they come true, then you win. And if they don't come true, you don't lose. Like, what kind of a game is this?
Yeah.
Like, heads I win, tails you lose. That's basically the game that we're playing here. Either way, you come on top. Like, why should we take this seriously?
Yeah.
You have made yourself immune from losing in this stupid game. It's become unfalsifiable. But go on.
Guys, you're going to see Jesus move before the end of the year, and you're going to know it's from God. When you see it, you're going to believe it.
Okay, so when it doesn't, it doesn't happen, address it like an adult, Jason. You said we're going to see Jesus move at the end of the year and it's going to be undeniable. So when it doesn't happen, you stop believing in God, right? Because that's the adult thing to do. Because when Armin and I see that and it's undeniable, we'll start believing in God. So why would you allow this obvious confirmation bias to prevent you from growing in your knowledge? Why would you allow this terrible methodology for thinking that Armin so beautifully laid out? Why would you allow that to stunt your ability to continue flourishing? Why would you do that, man? If that's presented to us and it's undeniable, Armin and I become believers on the spot. Why don't you have the same courtesy extended to yourself?
Okay, so the majority of prophecies happen exactly.
No, answer the question, dude. No, it's much simpler than that. You don't need to try to fabricate anything else, dude. Armin, let me ask you a question here. If there is undeniable proof, whatever that is for you, that God is real, do you start believing?
I mean, you just said undeniable. By definition,
right.
I have to start. Yes,
right.
So I would have to believe.
We would have to believe. We would be forced to believe. We couldn't have any other choice.
That's a trick question. You put undeniable in the question.
Of course it is, because that's what. Yeah, because of course it was a trick. Because I'm trying to. If you have something, Armin, that says this thing is from God, and this is going to occur because God is true, and then it doesn't occur, does that make you think maybe that God's not real?
Yeah, I mean, it's a useless, it's a baseless. I mean, you could do this with anything. Yes.
Okay, so here we go. Jason, you ready? You're gonna play now. Okay, same crap questions. If you have undeniable proof that God is not real, do you stop believing?
No, we don't stop believing. I told you.
There you go. That's the problem. That's your problem. That's why I wanted to do that. That's why I wanted to lay it out like that, because I was so confident that you were going to say no. I was confident Armin was going to be pedantic and go, well, yeah, of course I would have to believe if it's undeniable. But for you, Jason, when I ask that same question and I say undeniable proof that God doesn't exist, you already said, nope, I'm still believing. So this is a worthless game that you're playing with yourself just to make yourself feel better.
Does Jason know what undeniable means?
I'm not positive.
English is not my first language. I think Jason,
definitions can be hard.
The meaning?
Definitions can be hard. We've got
undeniable. This actually, that's a very good line. I'm impressed with. Now I see where you were getting. I didn't see what you were. That was fantastic. That was beautifully done. Because this basically shows that the whole point of belief is not to actually understand reality. The point of belief is just the belief itself, not for it to be a reflection of objective reality.
This message from God that Jason has presented to us, he's bringing it here today to say, look at this, and when it comes true, you'll believe. But the problem is that he's not being honest. And I've still got you on hold, Jason. I haven't dropped you just yet, but I'm going to ask Armin if he has any other things, because you already gave us exactly what we needed there, man. You told us you weren't coming to this conversation honestly, because when presented with an absurd scenario, just like Armin was like, well, yeah, you forced my hand. Of course I believe. It's undeniable. In that scenario, when it was flipped against you, you just went, nah, man, I'm still believing whatever the hell I came to this conversation with, which means you're not being honest. You're not taking this seriously.
Let's ask him why.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
Jason,
that's fair. That's
Jason,
fair. We'll bring you back,
If you are presented, I'm not sure if that's even possible, but let's say it was.
Right.
If you were given undeniable proof that God doesn't exist, why would you still believe in God? This is going to be a frustrating answer, I'm pretty sure. Unmute.
Yeah, he's unmuted.
Listen, once in a while, things don't happen exactly how they're prophesied, but the majority of the time they do. That's what I'm
answer my question. Like, why? Like, I know it was going to be frustrating, and by frustrating, I mean just like ignore the question entirely and just talk about something else, okay? Jason, my question is, you said that if you were provided with undeniable proof that God doesn't exist, okay, you will still believe in God. I'm saying why? Can you answer that question?
Because God has spoken to me in my dreams, and that's not heard directly.
That's not the point. That's not the question.
Yeah.
That's not the question.
Yeah.
Okay,
what you're doing is you're going back to a deniable proof. You're going back to the reason that Armin and I are specifically putting this into a really, really tiny box is because there really is only one answer here, which is, yes, I'm forced to believe or not believe because the proof was undeniable. You can't get out of the question by saying, yeah, but sometimes people just don't understand their hallucinations well. Yeah, then it's not undeniable. I don't know. Armin, we got other really good.
Then you basically what SR just said is that you're denying something that you just you just categorize it as undeniable yourself by accepting the premises, and then you went on and denying it. So you just denied what you yourself called undeniable. Right. I don't know. I think he doesn't understand. I think Jason doesn't understand what we're saying here. Maybe I don't think he's like.
Here's what we'll do, because we have some other really good calls too. Jason, I am glad that you gave us this message. We will be on the lookout for sure for the rest of the year. I know we might have gone a little hard on you, but I do hope in January you will call us back and just own up to it if this stuff doesn't come through, and just be like, hey, at the very least I was wrong, because that'd be cool, even though you won't stop believing for whatever reason. But hey, if we're wrong, I'll tell you this right here, right now, and it is on record. And I know the wonderful producers are really, really good at making me stick to my word when I say stupid things like this. So if any and all of that comes true by the end of the year, I will guarantee in January 2025, I make a public service announcement talking about how I was fucking wrong, and maybe Jason's a prophet. But I'm doubting it, Jason. I'm doubting it. So we're going to let you go. And we are going to just jump. We're just going to jump right into another one. Are you ready for it, Armin? I've got things to say. I've got super chats. I've got information, but I don't care. I'm going right into it because we are going to New York. We've got a theist, Baked Alaska, he, him pronouns, wants to talk about argument from God using first principles. Hey, Baked Alaska, you are talking to SR and Armin. What is up?
What up, man? What's up, SR and Armin? How you guys doing?
Hey, pretty good. How are you?
Hanging in. Surviving.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, so this is an argument I'm sure you guys have heard in some form before. It's basically that atheism is false because you cannot justify first principles. That's sort of the foundation of the argument. Right? And,
yeah, just real quick. When you say first principles, are you discussing like axioms? Is that how you mean them?
Exactly. Axioms that you would need to have knowledge. Yeah, exactly.
So axioms aren't justified though, right? Like that's the point of axioms, that they're like presuppositions that then allow us to go out and do the rest of the things, right? It's like we have to accept that one is one and not other things. Otherwise we can't do math. But there's no like proof of that. There's no like justification for that, right? Because they're axioms. They're first principles. We're a priori here, right? Is that fair?
Good question, right? Because no, it's not fair. It's false.
Okay.
And this is a good question, though, because it's a common misunderstanding, right? What we're doing with the transcendental argument is making a worldview comparison, right? So behind every proposition, there's going to be metaphysical suppositions, right? In atheism, your metaphysical presupposition is that there is no God, right? So in your world, the axiom is
no.
You're wrong. So right there, I can just stop you and say you're wrong. But you
don't even understand. Wait. Yeah. Before you do that, you're calling in and making a whole bunch of claims and trying to act like you're smart and being philosophical and all, and you don't even know what atheism is and what it stands for. So you don't even know the basics of what you're talking about, but you're trying to act all like philosophical and all. But I just want to leave to so you don't even know. Maybe ask us what atheism is if you don't know it.
Yeah.
But go on, sir.
Let me talk.
And if you're gonna Baked Alaska, look.
No. If you want to talk,
if you're gonna have an attitude, no. Just we got other calls. If you're gonna have an attitude,
we're. No.
You
so if you say something that is incorrect, we can tell you that you're wrong about something.
Yeah. Plus, you know how call-in shows work, dude. We've talked on call-in shows before. I've seen you on others. Like you know how this works. So, like, yeah, go ahead. Go back into what you have to say.
I get to present the argument, or you're just gonna tell me I'm wrong and just.
Oh my God! Oh no! You just got muted. Oh my God! Baked Alaska. It's almost like you're the caller on a call-in show that you're not running. If you're gonna be a child, just understand this very clearly, okay? We don't take calls from individuals that are underage. So whenever you decide you want to grow up and be an adult, you can call us back. But until then, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck, and that's why. Oh no! Oh, Armin, he didn't get to present the argument! Oh no! Oh God, what are we gonna do? It's not like we could just, I don't know, look up the argument from 600 fucking years ago, because that's what it is. That's what you were talking about, bro, and the problem is, I don't know, maybe you just don't have enough knowledge on it to actually get to it, because just within the first few steps, you stumbled so fucking hard that Armin had to pick you up and dust you off and kind of giggle at you. But it's okay, again, because, and I will gladly say this one more time, we don't take calls from underage individuals. So when you decide to grow up, which I think you can call back. Because we got other great calls. Was I too harsh there, Armin? Was that too mean? Was that too quick?
No, I mean, we have...
Yeah.
No, it's fine. Okay. But if it was,
make sure.
Yeah, but it was kind of.
We were spinning already. Like it was silly. So you got to justify your axioms. That's the fucking point about axioms.
I mean, this is just, you can't justify this, so you must be wrong.
Yeah, there we go.
Right. That's basically exactly. It's an appeal to ignorance. It's an appeal. It's like it's such a common logical fallacy. And again, he comes and uses philosophical language, trying to act like he's so smart, and then he uses one of the most common logical fallacies of the book.
Right.
First of all, we haven't even made the claim. How could you act so philosophical and not yet know that we are not even making a claim, right? And even if we weren't, not being able to explain something does not mean that we are wrong.
Right. Right.
What is that? Like, how? That's the basics. Okay. That's the very one of the fundamental things that you have to understand when it comes to trying to make logical arguments. Like, you cannot explain this. Sure, let's say we can't. Right? What I was going to say, I was going to ask him if he was on. I was going to ask him, do you know why electrons have two charges? Like there's positive and negative, right? Yeah. Why don't we not live in a universe that electrons could have three charges, for example?
That's true. That's a good point. Right? Yeah. There's nothing like logically inconsistent there.
Right. Well, I mean, we don't know why. Like, all right. Yeah. Or why is the amount of the charge the amount it is and not like an electron? Like, why is it not half of that? Or why is it not a little bit more? And why is it not like, we don't know these things, right? What if I come up with a hypothesis that I said, like, well, my giant farting turtle that farts into existence the universe has two balls, and one of them is has a positive charge, and the other one has a negative charge. Right. And that's where the positive and negative charges in electrons come from. Yeah. And then you say, well, Armin, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. What is stupid argument you're making? I'm like, well, do you know why? Like, I was going to ask him if he could explain the positive and negative charges in electrons. Could he tell us why that's happening? Because I was sure almost that he will not be able to give us a reason. And given that he cannot explain this, then he would have to accept my claim that it comes from the balls of my giant farting turtle, right? Given that he could not explain it.
And I've heard, okay, and I don't know that this is true, okay, but we will find out for sure. Well, not that. I have heard that there was actually a prophecy delivered from the universe farting turtle, and we have access to it. We might be able to tell you direct words from the universe farting turtle, but you're gonna have to hang on because we don't have them yet in the document, but we might get them by the end of this episode. So stick around. And before we grab the next call, let me tell you about some cool things that are coming up. Because, for instance, you might know it is time for the annual Bat Cruise fundraiser. That's right, on August 24th of this wonderful year, not long from now. Forrest Valkai, J. Mike, myself, many other wonderful people will be hanging out in Austin, Texas at the Free Thought Library on the river, looking at bats. You should come too, because it's really easy to get your tickets. You just go to tiny.cc/batcruise. And if you like what we do here and you enjoy us hanging out and having fun and giggling and telling you prophecies from the universe farting turtle, there are a bunch of ways that you can help us out. One way you can do that is supporting us on Patreon. That gives us a nice, stable way to make sure that we are always bringing you this wonderful content, because YouTube can be kind of fickle. So make sure you go to tiny.cc/PatreonAXP. And I think you get some cool stuff there too. I think there's some videos and stuff that are just for the patrons, and you get like a discount on things and merch stuff and all that jazz. But also you just you get the good sense that you're a good person by doing that. And if you don't, you should question yourself. I'm just kidding. The producers are very mad at me for that. All right, we're gonna go into another call before they kick me off.
I just want to confirm that turtles do actually have testicles. I never thought I would search this up, but yeah,
they do though, right? Like I thought they do, right? That's true.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, that's good to know. Yeah. That's good to know. And again, stick around. We might have some prophecies from the universe farting turtle. But first, we're gonna go out to Arizona. We're gonna talk with Eleni. I think I'm saying that right, but please yell at me if I'm not. She/her pronouns is a theist. Used to be an atheist, and then had a spiritual experience. So, hey, what is up, Eleni? You were chatting with Armin and SR. What? Tell us real quickly. Give us a rundown of what this experience was like. We don't need too many details. Just like elevator pitch.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, thank you for having me on. I don't know who I'm talking to, but yeah, I used to be an atheist, and then you're not even going to believe me, but I promise I'm not lying. Okay. I had in a meditation, it was like I used to be a very militant atheist. Mm-hmm. Not to not too different to you guys, but then one time after yoga class, the teacher had us all meditate. And then I experienced the sensation sort of like I woke up, like not cheesy, like from the Matrix, although a bit like that. It was sort of like I woke up and I was like, oh, that was all a dream. This is real, you know, in my meditation. Like I just knew it. Like I know, like I just knew that this was all just not like a dream, like fake, but like a dream, like kind of like a simulation kind of thing, you know? Then I came back into my earth body and I was like, oh my God. So I kind of, I just.
Why was that the experience that convinced you that a God exists?
Yeah.
Why?
See, I need more time to explain how, because I kind of understood. Okay, so I believe a lot of religions are actually super corrupt and kind of not what Jesus was actually saying. I believe that Jesus was simply an enlightened person who's trying to teach like the concepts of love and things. But all this stuff like, oh, you're gonna go to hell.
Let's go back to the experience and how it relates to God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not about the nature of religion and how corrupt it is. Let's try to connect the experience you had with the existence of God.
Because that's what I'm really confused about. Why would that experience lead you to believe that a God exists?
Because it's not so much a God, it's the idea of God itself, the original creator of all things. I understood that we are all.
So we're not asking. So we're not asking about the nature of God. Whatever you think is God, okay? How is your experience is connected to the existence of whatever you call God? How do you make that connection?
Because because when I hear people say God is love, God is light, God is everywhere, God is all knowing, that is exactly aligned with the vision that I had. So that's why. Okay,
so
why
you
would
believe
you
God
think that
is
right?
love? No. This is actually good.
Go ahead.
So you believe God is love? Do you believe that?
Yeah.
Okay, so I actually believe in your God. Okay. Actually, your God is real. Your God is fine. Your God is real. You're just calling things that are real God. But so you're actually right. God is real, and you're right to believe in God because you're just naming things that we know are real. You're just naming them God.
Yeah, like if you're just swapping out God for universe or existence, then it's like, well, yeah, those things are real, you know.
So yeah, your God is real. I didn't know you need an experience to know that love is real.
Hang on. Go tell us some more, Eleni.
Okay, so when you listen to people in other, like in Islam or whatever, they always say that God is love or light. These are all metaphors that they consistently use that are in all the religions, and that aligns with the vision that I had. And that's why it's like, okay, well, there is something to this religion thing. It's not all just fantasy.
Okay, but wait a second. How do you know that those people are right? Like, yeah, sure, there's been a lot of people throughout history who said like God is love and like it's crossed a bunch of different religious boundaries, even though it seems like pretty clear that there's been a lot of like mixing of a lot of these religions and stuff. But like, what about all the people that say God is hate? What about all the people who say like my God says to slaughter you in the streets? Because there's a lot of that view of God too. Like, why? How do you know the people that say God is love is correct?
So, because this is going to sound really woo-woo, but it's not so much that like God is love and if you're hate, you are not God. That's not what I'm saying. I think that everything at the end of the day is made of love, and things like hate and bad and stuff. These are just like.
Everything is made out of love.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Is dog poop made out of love?
I did. Yeah, sorry. I know that's
dog?
a good example you gave, but yeah, everything is.
Okay, yeah. What is love? Okay, let's say dog poop is made out of love. What is love?
Don't hurt me, Armin.
Can you explain love? How do you define love?
Connections.
Connections is love. So
that's
anything connected to another thing.
That is a bad definition, Eleni. That is a bad definition. Like
anything connecting with another thing, you call that connection. Right. The idea of connection, you're calling that love. So like the connection between like molecules and atoms, the forces.
This pen right here has pieces to it. Okay, they're connected. Is that love? Is that love?
Connection.
Look. Are you talking about the human, like being in love with someone? Or are you just talking about love?
We're not talking about anything. We're asking you what you're talking about. Okay, we're asking you because you're using words in a very weird and funny way. Okay, we use words, we're trying to use the definitions that most people use. When we say God here, we mean something. When we say love, we mean something else. And when we say connection, we mean something else. Okay,
Right.
but you're using these words in a fuzzy, weird way that they all just mingle to with each other. And because of the way you're using these words, communication becomes impossible. Because the whole point of having words is for them to have set meanings that most people could agree on so that we could communicate with each other. If the word God and love can be used interchangeably, and the word love and connection could be used interchangeably, then these words will not have any utility anymore.
We should drop
because
one
we
of
cannot
them.
talk to because we cannot talk to each other anymore if all of these words could mean the same thing.
Yeah, just call it love and connection. Drop the God term. Like,
Look.
Like imagine if we use words like you, like if I was trying to glue something to another thing, right? Like I was doing making some artwork,
You mean
I don't know,
staple?
glue something. I'm no, and somebody what are you doing? I'm loving these things with each other. I'm guarding them to each other, given that love means connection anyways. Like I don't know. Do you see how weird this is? How your use of language doesn't get us anywhere?
Let me explain what I'm saying. So,
Sure.
okay, I'm going to go at a different angle. I don't want to just be criticized for my grammar of all things. I'd rather just, you understand.
That's not
We're
grammar.
not criticizing you for your grammar. This isn't a pedantic dickhead thing. What we're doing is we're saying that you are purposefully and actively making it difficult so that it gets to the conclusion that you want. That's what we're trying to say. We're saying that when you are breaking down these differences between connection, love, God, the reason that you are attempting to make these one difficult, vague concept is because then it gets to your point. And what we're saying is that is incredibly unhelpful in casual, everyday life. And more so, it is dangerous because what it leads to is this right here, where people are believing in things that they have no good reason to believe in. And all they're doing is they're walking around in their regular daily lives, looking at people in the face and going, but don't you think love is real, man? Don't you think love is real? That's why we should lock all the homosexuals up, because love is real. That's what we're talking about. It's not us being pedantic assholes. This is an important point. This is not just about your casual use of grammar.
It was very dishonest for you to tell us that we're basically being pedantic over your grammar of all things, right? You're using words of God, love, and connection interchangeably, making communication with you impossible and making taking you seriously almost impossible. And then you come oh, you're basically disagreeing with me over my grammar. No, this is not. This is not over your grammar. So please do not try to act like SR said that we're being overly pedantic.
But look, here's what we can do. Here's what we can do. Okay, Eleni, because I agree, Armin and I have been talking a lot. So what we're going to do is when I shut up, which will be very shortly from now, I am going to put on screen a 60-second timer. It's going to count down for everything. And what you do is you take that whole 60 seconds and Armin and I will be quiet. We won't say a damn thing, won't interrupt you at all. And you explain it to us like we are 5. You help us out here. We will not say a damn thing during the 60 seconds. But the moment it is up, we are going to jump back in and talk about some things, okay? So when I am done talking here in just a moment, we are going to put up that timer, and it is your time to go, okay? So all on you, Eleni. 60 seconds. We'll be quiet. Go ahead.
Oh, I assumed you were just going to hang up the phone on me. Okay, so basically it's sort of like, imagine your whole life, that pigs can fly, right? You're like, pigs can fly. If you believe pigs can fly, that's stupid. That's ridiculous. And then one day a fucking pig flies right in front of your face. What are you to believe? The line between what's real and what isn't starts to become a little bit blurred. You start to question your own reality. Okay. What I'm saying is my vision with God or whatever was a lot like that. It was something completely unexpected. I was not raised anything. I was raised secular. So that's why I understand people when I talk to them about it, that they don't, I especially understand atheists, that they don't understand what I'm saying. It's one of those things where you have to experience it for yourself and then you'll understand. It's hard to explain in human terms because it felt like a very non-human experience, which sounds bizarre, I know, but like.
That's okay. That's 60 seconds. Eleni,
yeah.
I have a very important question.
Okay.
If you walked outside and you saw pigs flying right now, what would you think? What would be the first thought in your head? Just be honest. Don't think about it too hard. What would you say?
Yes. I'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, so do you start going around and telling all of your friends, all pigs fly? All pigs can do this. They're just choosing not to, right? Do you do that?
No, that's
No, of course not, because that's an absurd step from the experience that you had, okay? That is an absurd step from the experience that you had. It would be fair, though, for you to go around and tell people, hey, man, I think I saw pigs flying, okay? Now, let me ask you another question. What if I walked up to you and I said, hey, all pigs fly? And you go, gosh, I don't think so. And then I go, but I saw it. What do you think from there? Does that give you a good reason to accept it?
Okay, hold on. I didn't say all pigs fly. I'm saying one.
Just answer the question. You don't have to try very hard. I am not setting you up to fail. The reason that people fail when they answer these questions is because their answers are bad. Okay? So it's a very simple question. If I walk up to you and I say, all pigs fly, Eleni, I saw a pig flying. Does that give you any reason to believe that all pigs fly?
Just because you saw one pig flying doesn't mean all pigs fly, obviously.
So why does this one experience give you justification to accept that a God exists? All you had is one experience. How do you know you aren't misinterpreting that? This is one experience. One pig flew in front of me. How do we know that that gives us good reason to accept that all pigs fly? It doesn't. You're exactly right.
Okay, well, how many gods do you have to see before you believe in a god?
How many experiences have you had with God? How many pigs have you seen fly?
The one was very profound.
There you go. So by your standards, you're failing. See, I didn't set you up to fail. I didn't tell you that one experience is a shit way to come to an idea. I didn't say that. You said that. You told me, the guy who saw the pig fly, hey man, you really shouldn't get to that conclusion based on that one experience. I agree. Now think about your experience. Go ahead, Armin.
You have a question. Can I?
Okay.
Okay. So you guys asked me what is love. I will ask you, what do you define as love?
It is a complex emotion.
Hold on.
Go ahead, Armin. You answer, Armin. Yeah, I'll shut up.
Yeah. Okay, so love. Different people have different definitions for love, right? But as long as I accept your definition, we could go with. As long as your definition is close to what other people use, we could go with that, right? But I just find your definition was so out of what people mean by love that it should have been called out. When I say love, when I say somebody loves somebody else. To me, love means that you care about their well-being, right? So if you care about someone's well-being, if you see their happiness brings you joy, and if their misery brings you misery, that to me, that's the definition of you loving somebody, okay? I also want to answer your other question. If I saw, you asked us, what do we think if we see a pig fly? If I saw a pig fly, I would assume that maybe I'm hallucinating, maybe this is a dream, or maybe pigs can fly, right? Or maybe this pig can fly, not all pigs, but maybe this specific pig can fly, right? But these are the things, these are the options that I would consider. The options that I would not consider is that I could say dog poop is made out of love, or that this shows that there's a God. These are not what will come to my mind. I would just like, okay, if I'm not hallucinating, and if this is not a dream, then I guess one of my assumptions about the universe is wrong. And I have to figure out what's happening here and why this specific pig can fly. I would not come up with a whole bunch of other random beliefs or claims that has nothing to do with this pig flying. This pig flying, I don't know how you're going to connect this to the existence of a conscious creator of the universe or something like that. It's just a pig that is flying. Okay? So I just want to see how you're connecting whatever experience you had with God as being real. And I assume that when you say God, you were talking about the conscious creator of the universe. But now I'm seeing that maybe you have a more pantheistic understanding of what God is, and you're just calling everything God. So I'm trying to understand what you mean by God, and I'm having a hard time understanding what you mean by God, because now you're calling God love, and love is just anything that connects with anything else. So I don't know. So what do you mean? Now I told you what I mean by love. What do you mean by love?
Oh, well, I still believe it's connection, because as you said, their happiness becomes your own happiness. You know, you feel connected, right? But anyways, if you want me to.
No. So wait. So any form of connection you call love?
No. I think love is everything. And you asked what is love, and I said connection, because I think everything is connected.
So love is everything. But your definition of love is everything that exists. So because I look at the entire universe. So here's a problem with your definition. Okay, if you're using a word in a way that it is referring to everything that exists, then that word it has no more utility.
Yes.
Because the point of words, okay, is to create a category of things that separates it from everything else, right? If I say a pen, with Armin, how you define a pen? If I say, well, pen is everything that exists. Well, we already have a word called everything. So now the word pen loses its utility, because the whole word pen is supposed to create a category of things that are pens to separate it from things that are not pens. So when I give you my definition of love, and my definition of love was useful, because now you could point to things that are love and then point to things that are not love. But your definition of love is useless, because you didn't separate love from things that are not love. You're calling everything love. So you have a useless definition of the word love. Do you see what I'm saying?
I don't agree, but fair enough. Basically,
Don't you agree that if a word does not separate what is trying to refer you from the things that it's not, then that word serves no purpose. It loses all utility. Do you not see that? Do you agree that if I use the word pen to refer to everything, then the whole word, my definition, has no utility, because it doesn't identify it doesn't separate things that are pens away from things that are not pens?
Okay. Well, I just think that I'll be honest, I don't fully understand your point. Listen, if you don't like the love definition that I gave, we can just scrap that. You know, we can move on to something that makes more sense to you.
But there's a fundamental issue that we're pointing at here, Eleni. Okay, honestly,
Okay.
like I know it sounds. All right, so Eleni, I have been talking a bunch this call. So I am just going to let Armin and you go at it for a few more minutes, and we've got some other great announcements I got to tell you about. So Eleni, you and Armin, I'm just going to shut up and sit back, and this is the easy part for me. So what you got for her, Armin?
Can she hear us? Can you hear us?
Oh, yeah.
Right now? Okay, so Eleni, you were saying that you wanted to abandon the love argument. So we were trying to establish what your experience made you believe in. So so you say you believe in God now? You were an atheist and now you're not. So what is this God that you now believe in? So that we could, because before we try to build this connection, we have to see what you're even talking about. So what is this God that you now believe in?
Absolutely. So when I read, well, I haven't actually read the Bible, but I tried to read it recently. I believe that God of the Old Testament wasn't actually like the one true God that Jesus talks about.
Okay. So Eleni, I don't need to know what God is not. Okay. Can you just tell me what God is? Forget what he's not.
Okay.
Tell me what he is, or it is.
I will skip to the juicy part for you. I don't mind. Just if you're not able to understand, you're not giving me an opportunity to explain myself. But in my perspective, God is basically everything, the entire universe.
Yeah. Okay. I accept that. I accept that from you. Okay. So, and I believe in your God. I think your God is real. Okay. I just don't think you made a very profound claim here. You're just saying that everything is real. We already knew that. Like, you know, you're saying that you believe in everything being real, and by definition, everything is real. Okay, but by definition, it must be real, right? And I agree. You're saying this. You believe in this. Okay. The only problem I have with what you're saying is that I think it's weird that you're calling this everything thing God. Okay. I just think that this is not appropriate name for it. And I could tell you why. I'm not being pedantic. It's important that we use words, you know, in the way that they're meant to be used, because that's the entire point of having language, for us to be able to communicate. I'm not being pedantic here, but you're saying that now, as you used to be an atheist, but now you believe in God. And what is God? God is everything. I don't think your views have changed that much, because did you, as an atheist, did you not believe that everything was a thing? Did you, before you're saying now you believe in everything. I believe in everything as well. I don't worship it. I just think it's there. Okay. But how were you an atheist before, and now you're not an atheist? Before, when you called you an atheist, did you deny the existence of this thing that you call everything?
All right, let me explain it like this. So before, when I was an atheist, I thought that people believed in God because they were scared of death or because they were brainwashed into it. This is what I believed before. After the vision, I can explain God in a different way. After the vision, it was...
No, okay, so don't bring everybody else into this, because this is your views. Okay, so when you say, I thought people believe in God because of this, okay? And now you're saying, no, but now I think, well, you were wrong before, and now you are wrong now, okay? Because every person's reason for believing in God is not the same as the person. You cannot make a general claim about why people believe in God, okay? So I don't know what you're trying to do here. You're trying to now speak on behalf of all God-believing people by saying, oh, this is what they actually mean. They are killing each other over the fact that they cannot agree over what they're actually saying, right? I don't know if you could turn on the news or look at history books. They cannot agree with each other over this, so much so that they're killing each other all the time over it. So don't try to act like you can be a representative of believing people worldwide, but when it comes to what they mean of what when they say God or what they're worshiping. Okay, so you are representing you. You cannot talk on behalf of all other God-believing people. Do you agree with that?
Of course, I'm not talking on behalf of every human on the planet. I'm saying this is why I assumed, because I was young, I was under 20 years old, that other people believe in God. I assume those are the reasons.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so why now you believe what? Yeah. Now you believe what?
Okay. Well, oh my God. Okay, I don't think you're going to believe me, but basically the vibe I got was that God is basically this one entity being who was bored and made this sort of like, I don't want to call it sin, but basically it's like this like reality, and basically God is like each and every one of us are like the same one God, but like kind of gave himself like amnesia or herself, whatever, to play this game.
Why do you believe this?
Yo, hold on. Just give me a second.
Sorry.
Go on.
I saw it with my own eyes. I don't know what to tell you. In my vision or whatever.
Okay, no. So see, I don't want to. So here's the thing: what you're saying is not at all original. Okay, the claim that you're making that we are all gods. Okay, and God just gave himself amnesia so that he could experience the universe as mortals without knowing that he's God. You know, many people have been making this claim since ancient times. It's just a fun thing to believe in. This is not like you thought you're saying. I don't know. Did you assume you're telling me something that is original and new? Because it's not, and many people have said the same thing. All right, and your claim to why you believe this is because you saw this with your own eyes. Well, other people have different definitions of God, and they had dreams and hallucinations about the version of God that they believe in.
Yeah.
What you're saying, by the way, is heresy in many religions. You know, and a belief that some other religious people have, that exactly this is what is happening. But the people who are other God-believing religious people who say that what you're saying God is heresy, they have also had their really deep personal experiences that has proven to them that their version of God is the true one, right? So if you think your profound, unique, strong experience proves anything, then their unique, profound, unique, strong experience should prove their God.
Yeah. And
do you agree with that?
Earlier in the call, you already admitted, Eleni, that's a bad methodology. You already admitted that about the flying pigs.
No,
so.
I want to see if she agrees with that. Do you agree that?
Hang on, stop.
Yeah.
We got other calls. I got announcements. Okay. Answer this question, and we're moving on.
Do you agree that your methodology should make other people's strong personal experience? Should we take that would prove that their God, their version of God that contradicts yours, you should believe them as well?
It doesn't contradict mine at all because all experiences are valid. Truth is subjective.
There you go. You think it's a poor methodology and you shouldn't accept their experience, and that's why you're wrong. You shouldn't accept your own experience because by your definition and your standard, it's a poor methodology. But hey, call us back, Eleni. We got some other calls, so I got to move quick. But yeah, please call us back and let's talk about that more. Go ahead.
Okay, sorry.
No,
I know we have other people. Sorry.
No,
I'm just saying if she says truth is subjective, then she doesn't believe in any objective reality.
Yes, I know.
So she's not making many claims.
Right.
So why are you even convincing? Why are you even trying to convince us of anything if there's no objective truth? Like, what is there to be convinced of?
That's what
if
I was.
Don't believe in objective reality.
That's what I was catching earlier, and that's why I was going down that route. Was because it was like, yeah, if that's what you're saying at the end of the day, like, yeah, you shouldn't, by your methodology, you shouldn't even be believing in the thing that you're believing in. And that's just, yeah, that's what a lot of religions do. That's okay, though, because yeah, right. I know. We'll talk about that in the after show because we're going to be hanging out in the Discord. So make sure you guys come and join us. But let me tell you about all the cool things some of these wonderful people in this live chat have been giving us. We got 10 more Atheist Experience memberships from Quantum Answer. You are awesome. Been a member for 2 years. We've got $19.99 coming in from Godless Doctor saying, Armin, please tell your dog I said hi, and please introduce him or her. Thank you. Is your dog still with you? Can you pull the fluff on screen, or is it maybe later?
No. I think my dog does not. I know a lot of people want to believe that their dogs speak English.
Does not? Are you sure?
No.
I'm pretty sure my buddy told me about a story where his dog talked to him. So we'll get answers on that before the end of the show, folks. We've got David Hacker, a member for 2 months, sending $5 Canadian, saying cancer is God's love filling your body. Yeah, right? I mean, right? If everything is love, is this used napkin love? I mean, come on. Quantum Answer sending us more super chats. I think that's Czech Krona? Am I right on that? Is that Czech Krona? CZK? Czech Republic?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
All right, cool. Best host combo ever, Armin and regular hilarity. I didn't forget your challenge for name creation, SR, and I won't stop. Please don't. I love them. You rock, guys. Thank you so much for the show. Canceled all oh no, wait, that was to me from the producer. That is my bad. We've got David Hacker sending more memberships.
You did that on purpose.
Shut up, don't give it away, Armin. It's David Hacker sending 21 memberships to the Atheist Experience channel. We appreciate you, and everybody that's gotten their membership, make sure to thank those people and spam emojis. And $5 from Armin's dog, actually, saying, Armin, you're so hard to buy for. So that is a little direct criticism coming from inside the house, Armin. Your dog thinks you should be more open about gifts you would like. So speaking of some nice gifts.
That's not true, actually. I'm easy.
You can gift channel memberships, or you can buy one yourself for as little as 99 cents a month. All you got to do is click the join button below the video, and this will give you access to special chat emojis like Armin's face and my face. So just throw them all in the chat, and plus you will get access to early access to YouTube Shorts and clips. And another place, if you are struggling to find what gifts to buy for someone like Armin and his dog, one place you can go is tiny.cc/merch ACA, because we've got a bunch of really cool AXP merchandise and some new stuff like pens and pint glasses, a wine tumbler, backpacks, onesies, and youth tees. All the good stuff. There's hoodies, there's mugs, there's stickers, phone cases. I'm not going to read them all, but I think I basically have at this point. So like, what the tank tops, that was the one I forgot. And finally, we want to send a massive thank you to the wonderful crew who puts on this show every week and puts up with our crap. The video operators, the audio operators, the note takers, our call screeners, our chat moderators, all of you wonderful people keep this going when Armin and I barely can. So because we're always just kind of flying by the seat of our pants, just barely hanging on, but we're making it so far, and we are not done yet because I've got some other really cool calls. We are going to talk to Benjamin in Alabama. Him is a theist and wants to talk to us a little bit about the Bible. So hey Benjamin, you are on with Armin Navabi and Secular Rarity. What you got?
Hey, so I talked to the Talk Heathen earlier today, and I called in last week, and I just thought that I would talk about the history of the Bible and the problems that are in the Bible, contradictions and all that good stuff. I also thought that
just real quick, Benjamin. So we don't have a shit ton of time, right? We've been doing this show for a while now, so we can't go through the whole history of the Bible. Are there like a couple of specific points you want to point out, like these things make me believe that it's more true, or like these things make me think that the Catholics are wrong, or I don't know. Is there like a specific focus on the Bible history there?
So my take on it is, so I know a lot of the history of the Bible. I know about the church got involved, burned half the books, and changed up a bunch of stuff. And so I believe in God, but it's not because of the Bible. It's just because of my own personal beliefs. And then half the stuff that
I would be more interested in talking about that, because we would like. Yeah. Would you be interested in talking about that more? Because the Bible being wrong and all, like we will just agree with you. And
you think like, so? We think
like,
so.
Sure.
Let's talk about what you said. You believe in God, but it doesn't come from the Bible. Where does it come from? Where does your version of God come from?
Well, so personal experiences and actually, and from the past, really, because my version of my belief system actually hasn't been around for a very long time. So I think that limbo exists. I think that heaven exists. I think that hell exists. I think that Lucifer is actually the good guy, somewhat.
But none of this is coming from the Bible?
Well, I mean, some of it does, but then a lot of the stuff, like the old books that got threw out, but by the church. But then is
God the bad guy? If Lucifer is a good guy, is God the bad guy, or are they just on the same team?
A little of both. So I think God isn't all good. I think there's some bad there too.
How are you coming to these determinations, Benjamin? Like, how are you coming to this determination that God is real, but like isn't as cool as they make him seem in the Old Testament?
This is some early Christianity stuff.
Well, in the Old Testament, he wasn't cool at all. He was more evil in the Old Testament than he is in the New Testament.
Yeah, sure. But how are you coming to the determination that the Yahweh character they're talking about is like actually a bad guy when they're like, man, he's really good?
Well, actually, there's a version of the Bible that was done, I believe, in the 4th century that actually painted God as the bad guy, but the churches got rid of it because it contradicted
Gnosticism.
And they also
yes, this is some Gnostic
the
belief.
Gnostic
But how
stuff.
do you? But I mean, this is interesting. So I'm torn between like asking you why you believe in these things, or just continue asking you what you believe in, because I don't know which one I would be more interested in.
I know, because I'm fascinated just like on what you believe in and of itself, because especially because like you started off by saying like, yeah, man, the Bible's kind of got all these problems, and I know that it was, you know, kind of hodgepodge put together by a bunch of people all over the world after the fact, all that jazz. So it sounds like you don't accept the Bible as being a good source of you know, factual information, but then very quickly he goes back into basically saying like the Bible is where I get this
the
stuff
Bible
from.
has been corrupted. Like not everything there is true, but there's some truth. But what's your source? Like how do you know these things? Like give us the source of all this wisdom so that we could use it as well and become wise like you.
How do you know what books of the Bible are corrupt and which ones aren't?
Well, just based on history, and also my life experiences, and just knowledge.
Like give me a life experience that made you believe Lucifer was the good guy and God was like both evil and good. It seemed like he had a character arc, like he started bad and then he learned his lessons and then he became better throughout.
Any good fiction has their characters kind of change and develop over time. So otherwise they get boring. So yeah, what's that life experience?
Yeah, give me a life experience that will give you these conclusions.
So if you base it on the Bible itself, it actually says that Lucifer is kind of the good guy. So, and I know that seems weird, but once I explain it, it'll make more sense.
So the weird thing, honestly, it's not that statement sounds weird, because again, I hope Armin and I made fairly clear that we have a little bit of knowledge about where this kind of stuff comes from. Like, did you know, you remember we both mentioned like the Gnostics and the early Christian sects. So like what's weird is that you're saying the Bible's corrupt. You can't believe that. And then we go, okay, so what do you believe? And then you tell us something. And then Armin goes, oh, cool. How'd you get to that? And you go, well, in the Bible, it says this. That's what's weird to me, man. So why are you going back to the Bible?
Well, I mean, I could go to other source material too, but it's not exactly accurate. Like you have the Book of the Devil from the 4th century that the guy did. That's where the idea of the pointed horns and the pitchfork and all that stuff came from. I can't remember the exact name of it, but
did you just say did you have a personal experience with the devil himself?
No.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness.
Yeah. Okay. I'm actually disappointed. I don't know why you're happy.
And I feel like we were asking about the personal life experiences and we didn't get much there. Let's try to stick on that, okay? So you said, tell us if we're wrong, Benjamin. You said that you came to the conclusion about what this God is from personal life experiences, things that happened to you that confirmed this conclusion. So give us one life experience and then one confirmed conclusion that came from that.
Okay, so I died several times in the past, and I was pronounced medically dead, and I was given knowledge by God. So there's that.
Okay, so let's just stick. Hold up. Let's just stick.
You should have lived with that. You have died and have been given knowledge by God, and that was not your opening.
Yeah, literally. Seriously, just advice from here on out, and not even like when you're calling into these types of shows. Just like in casual, everyday conversation with people, that should be what you lead with. Like it should be like, "Hi, I'm Benjamin. I've died multiple times and spoken directly with God." Like that should be what. Okay,
and I have been given a wealth of knowledge from God directly that I'm going to share with mankind.
We're feeling it now. I feel like I am on board. I am on the right page. What do you think about what do you think about that life experience? Is that a good reason to believe something? Is that a bad reason? What is it?
I think it's sufficient.
Oh,
Why would that be sufficient?
I also think that
Hold up. Why would that experience be sufficient?
well, because reality is what you can see, taste, and touch.
Is it?
When I've had these,
Is that all that reality is? Because I've never seen, tasted, or touched any wombats in my life, but they're definitely a part of reality.
now I'm just wondering what God tastes like.
That is a good question. What does God taste like? I'm going to say Rocky Road ice cream. But, okay. Armin, what do you think of this experience? Is this a good experience? Is this something that can confirm this?
Do you, Benjamin, have you not seen how unreliable our senses are when it comes to detecting what is real? The whole point of the scientific method is for us to be able to make things repetitive, blind, and we use other methods because the reason why the humans have become a lot better at detecting what is true is because they have not relied on individual senses, right? Because our senses could fool us, and to be able to get a better reflection of what is real, we have to take the, not just individual senses, but everyone's senses to see what is being repeated, what could actually be a reliable reflection of how reality works. Like we have so many examples of how our senses, individual senses, if you take all our senses and collect it in a scientific way and try to figure out a model to explain all our senses, then you actually get to reliable theories about reality that we know they are more reliable because they have predictive power, they have explanatory power. But when it comes to our individual senses of trying to understand what reality is, you don't get any of the characteristics of an understanding of the universe that has those powers. Like none of the theories that comes from individual senses gives us predictive power, explanatory power, or passes Occam razors, or a lot of other metrics that we associate with theories that are closer to the truth. So you using your individual senses to come up with an understanding of what is reality has historically been one of the most unreliable ways of doing that. Have you not? You say you have been studying history. You should have seen how random of a conclusion, how contradictory of a conclusion people come up with when it comes to explaining reality when they rely just on their individual senses.
So let me ask you something. I was going to point out the fact that scientific method is insufficient to study reality. Because it comes to different conclusions at different points in time, and it can't study anything that is not of the natural realm. But let me ask you something. Do you think that what do you think is the correct answer for Christianity? There's hundreds of denominations. Every denomination thinks that they're right about everything about Christianity, and yet there's hundreds of denominations with different factors. So how do they know that they're right?
Yeah, that's kind of our point, man. That's kind of like what we would say. And that the fact that is the case, right? That's not an interpretation. That's not somebody making assumptions. That is the fact on the ground in reality. And the fact that is what it is seems to be a point for our side when we say stuff like, hey, it might not be true, right? Because none of them seem to agree on any of it.
I also don't understand, Benjamin, you're asking two atheists what they think their correct view of which view of Christianity is the correct one. What do you think our answer is going to be, Benjamin, given that me and SR Elliot here are both atheists? Which one do you think we're going to...
Here's the most correct view of Christianity you can have. Look at that book right there. Just beautiful. I don't know if you can see that now, Benjamin, but it's a blank fucking book. So yeah, that's the most correct view of Christianity.
Well, you would probably say none, but that's because there's no way to prove that God does exist, and there's no way to prove that he doesn't either.
Okay, so
Okay, so why do you believe then?
Thank you, Armin. Thank you. Go ahead, Benjamin. If there's no way to prove that God does exist, why do you accept the conclusion that God exists? Help us.
Why are you making our points for us? That's exactly what we would say. Go on.
Like I said before, I've had personal experiences where I've seen God and I've spoken to God.
If you've said that there's no way to prove that God exists, you must either be saying, except for my personal experience, or you're saying that by your own standards, personal experience is not a good justification to accept, because you said you can't demonstrate that God exists. Do you see how it's contradictory, Benjamin? Do you see how it's contradictory?
What I could do, here's what I could do. I could say on the lie detector test that I've seen God and talked to God, and if I...
No, we believe you, Benjamin. Hold on, Benjamin, you're missing the point. We don't think you're lying, okay? Right. We're not denying that you had a personal experience and you experienced something that you think it's God. You think we're claiming that you're lying? We agree, we accept that you had that personal experience. Right. We just don't think that thing that you experienced is God.
Yeah.
So we're not accusing you of lying here.
We don't think it's a demonstration, just like you don't think it's a demonstration, because as you said, God can't be demonstrated to exist. Also, polygraph tests are bullshit. They are fucking fake.
Oh, yeah, but let's...
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I just had to say it. Go ahead.
Benjamin, let me tell you this, okay? When you tell me that you had an experience, okay, and you had an experience with God, okay, I believe you. I don't believe that thing that you experience is God. I believe that you think that you had that experience and you had a very significant experience. But do you believe, if I talk to a Shia Muslim, for example, and he tells me that he met Imam Mahdi, okay? He met the Mahdi, okay? I believe him as well. Do you think that his personal, I don't think that, when I say I believe him, it doesn't mean that I think he actually met the Mahdi. I believe that he thinks that he met the Mahdi, that he had a personal experience that he thinks that was the Mahdi, right? But would you, if he comes and tells you that, and you can tell that he's being honest and he's not lying to you, he did have a very emotional experience that he thinks is the Mahdi. Do you think that's a good enough reason for us to believe that the Mahdi is real? Do you honestly, you just forget about your personal experience, because there are many people that have this personal experience, that they think that the Mahdi made himself known to them. He appeared in front of them. When these people tell you that, and you believe that they think that, do you actually believe that the Mahdi is real based on that personal experience? Would you believe them? Would you believe that Mahdi is real?
I believe that several versions of God are real, but I believe that they're all one.
This is not a God. This is a Mahdi. Okay, so what if somebody? Okay, let's get out of the religious realm. Okay, what if somebody tells you that I swear I saw Santa Claus come and leave me gifts? I woke up and I saw Santa Claus coming down the chimney, and he was as real to me as you are here right now. And he was laying out gifts right in front of my Christmas tree. And I had that experience. I'm telling you, and he's being honest. He had that experience. Would that make you believe in Santa Claus? Do you think that's a reliable way for us to believe in Santa Claus?
I would think that whoever that was saw somebody that looked like Santa Claus, but whether or not that person was Santa Claus is something different.
Boom. That's what we're saying. That's what we're saying, Benjamin. That's what we're saying. Thank you for confirming that again. And what we're saying, once again, just to be super duper clear, is that your personal experience is just like that person telling you they saw Santa Claus. And your response to that is exactly what our response is when somebody tells us they had personal experiences with God. We say, we think you saw something. Pretty positive you think it was Santa. That's not Santa. So I'm going to let you go, Benjamin, because we have another call and the crew is yelling. But call us back, especially because, man, I felt like every time we got further into his beliefs, they kept like getting more and more wild for me. And I like at the end, he said there were multiple gods. So I don't even know. I don't know what to do with that. I don't know what to
I
do.
think that guy should just go write a book, and that should be. I would watch that movie.
I would too. I would too.
Yes.
You know what? I've got a thought. Armin. I've got a thought. Because I like this call. I like this next call we're going to take. And we've actually got a super, super cool dude that has been hanging out with us behind the scenes, just in case Armin and I fuck up very hard, which is a high probability. I want to bring on our backup host, Dr. Ben, to help us take this call. What up, Ben?
What's up? How's it going?
Have we done okay so far? Are you going to be yelling at us afterwards? I feel Okay. All right. Well, hopefully
I do real quick. I have to turn off the cat toy that's playing in the background.
Yeah.
Like the whole time, my cat has been going like crazy. I don't know what it is about me being on camera, but she's like, now's the time.
You've got
to be
a cat.
annoying.
Armin's got a dog. I've got nothing.
Knows.
I have nothing exciting to show people. So go do that. We'll bring you back up in here in just a second, because I know that Ben.
This is why I was laughing a little bit, because I'm seeing all the conflict that was happening between him and the cat in the background. Sometimes I was just looking at that.
Okay.
It was fun.
It's been great, honestly. So we are going to grab Andre, an atheist, him in Florida, wants to talk with us about why people with disabilities are targeted so actively by theists. And Andre, you are talking with Dr. Ben, Armin Navabi, and SR, and I am going to let Ben hit this first. Ben, why do you think theists so actively target people with disabilities?
There's multiple things here. The fact that, number one, and this is somebody who so when I grew up in Christianity, and I grew up with a sibling who is considered special needs, and there's a lot within, especially Christian circles, about people with disabilities being seen as like a test for people, or being used for people to go to their community and say, look how resilient I am. Look at how well I'm doing raising my children in Christianity, even though it's hard and all this stuff. Like, they're not treating their children like as their children, but it's like they're treating them as if they are this evil or this challenge or something that was meant to mess with them or meant to test their faith, which is kind of disgusting in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I agree with that. Armin, what's your experience with this? And we'll come right to you after that, Andre, and get your thoughts.
Well, my experience is a weird one. I just know that it's not really, I don't know if it's directly touches upon the question. I just think that it demonstrates how it's seen as a curse or some misfortune by God or something. But I know that there's a lot of, when I grew up hearing stories about a whole bunch of actors that go on wheelchairs, and we have now, now we have verified evidence that this happens a lot, because now people record them with videos. But there are people who go with wheelchairs inside like Shia shrines, and they just walk at some point, and the people are like, oh my God, there's a miracle, because they were praying inside of the shrine to so-and-so imam, and this is a miracle, and people just believe that and eat that up. But this was something that we constantly heard about people who prayed, or they were showing their respect for a certain Shia imam, and they just they were paralyzed, but now they can walk. They had cancer and they were supposed to die, and now all of a sudden they're good. But it's also very harmful, because it kind of suggests that if you're not healing, you're just not believing enough, and you're not just praying hard enough. And there's basically something, why did they get healed? Why did they, and you're not? Like, you're obviously not doing the right things, because God has chosen to heal them and not you. So it's very damaging emotionally to some people who are suffering from, certain diseases or handicaps or stuff like that. Yeah,
I totally agree. I totally agree with both of you there. Andre, what do you think on that, man? We'll give you a second to share some thoughts.
Well, to start, I really appreciate Armin getting into the fact that there are extreme emotions going on with people that are new injury and people who are born with disability, and having this approach of well, I understand what's going on with you, and here's the solution, especially for people who are always going to look for a solution, is very detrimental to their ideology and to their just everyday life. I only just broke my neck in 2020, but I've been around a lot of people who have been in this kind of situation for a much longer time. And having people tell you, if you just pray, or if you just believe, or if you just do this and have a completely dictated approach to your own experience, then you will walk tomorrow, or you will be cured tomorrow, or whatever your ailment is, or whatever your difficulty in life is, it'll be completely gone simply because of something that they believe in. It's something that, in a lot of the situations I've been in, and a lot of situations that my friends and I have been in, it's usually people who have either returned to a faith or are new to it and are still kind of riding that high and feel like everyone should have this. And it kind of feels like we're an easy target just because their emotions kind of take over their actions and they don't really think it through. Which is why I brought up Armin, because you definitely thought this through enough. I know you guys are able-bodied, and in the sense of, like, I'm a C6, C7 paralysis quad, and not being able to walk is a very difficult thing to wrap your mind around. But having at least put in a little bit of thought and energy into it, you understand why that would be a problem to tell somebody you're going to walk tomorrow, and the plan was this, and there's a reason why you're like this, and you're not going to get better unless you do this. And then you have
it's
to think
all
about that on your
it's
own.
all destructive, I think. Even in the most charitable light here, it is all destructive where this ideology stems from. Because in the most charitable light, what you have is you have pure humanity from these people, seeing another member of their society, their group, another human that is hurt and is suffering in some way, and they're attempting to extend to you comfort and a solution that brings you out of that suffering. That is the most charitable light I think we can present this. The problem is, underlying all of that is the fact that currently, in this state, you're broken in their eyes. You are less than, because God promised us full bodies in heaven. That's God's promise. God tells you that your ailments will be cured, that your disabilities will be fixed, because there is something wrong with you according to this ideology. And so even in the most charitable, compassionate, humanist focused light, this ideology, I think, is still toxic and disgusting. And a lot of religion has very ableist language. And again, I think in part it's because there is that humanness of wanting to reach out and try to do something for your fellow human, you know? That's just innate in all of us. That's what makes humanity so awesome in so many ways. And that's why religion twists it and weaponizes it, because they know how fucking powerful it is. Yeah. Any other thoughts, Ben or Armin, before we head over to Discord soon?
No, that was perfect.
Sweet. Andre, thank you so freaking much for bringing up this topic and talking about this. I was really lucky. I got to hang out with a friend of mine, AJ, the other day, and we did a video and we talked about this too. I think this is a topic that we need to have more discussion on in the atheist, secular humanist type communities. And so I'm really glad you brought it up, and I hope you'll call us back in the future. Yeah, man. Yeah. Well, hey, come hang out in the Discord, dude. That's where we're going right now. So we will see you there, hopefully, Andre. And if not, we will hopefully hear from you again shortly. But folks, this was a great episode. I had so much fun, in part because Ben was making silly faces at us and struggling to keep his cat under control the whole time. And so that was great to watch. Plus, I always love hanging out with you, Armin. We always have such a fun freaking time. And I was glad we got Ben's thoughts in on there before we ended. But guys, don't forget, we got a prompt. We got a prompt this week. Complete the conspiracy theory. What gospel authors don't want you to know? Make sure to put your answer in the comments below the video. Don't put it in the live chat right now. It's not going to be worth it. Come hang out with us because all three of us are going over to the ACD for a little bit. We are going to be chatting it up and screwing around. And we've got those prophecies from the universe farting turtle. We've got them. They'll be coming up here in just a second. Just don't forget, next Sunday, 4:30 p.m. Central, you can come hang out with us. There's lots of great places here at the ACA. Okay, all of those prophecies, where are they? Where are they? It'd be a shame if we got cut off before I could read them. Perfect. Okay, so here we are. Prophecies in order from the universe farting turtle. Before the end of the year, SR will be cut off abruptly in an AXP episode. Oh, that's oddly specific. Yeah. Okay. Prophecy number.
Stop questioning the bullshit everyone around you buys. You think it's any
If that's not proof, I don't know what is.
That was perfect.
Watch Talk Heathen live Sundays at 1 p.m. Central. Visit tiny.cc/YTTH and call into the show at 512-991-9242 or connect to the show online at tiny.cc/callth.